What's up guys, ESO for show here. Today I'm bringing you a MagDK PvP build. This is a slight variation of Cypher PK, so don't go saying I copied him. I wasn't actually directly inspired by him. I first started off doing some crazy builds with proc sets that I found, trying to make a quote-unquote Aura Knight. I ran Storm Knight and Thunderbug. They both have lightning effects when you take damage, but they're both tanking sets, so they have resistances, and I was kind of lacking in the, killability department, I guess. And so I decided I needed to change some things out. I changed Storm Knight for Wizard's Riposte for the more survivability aspect, plus it had some spell damage on it, and that didn't work, so I changed that for Night Slayer, thinking maybe some heavy attacks, weaving could whittle my opponents down a little bit quicker because it takes 10% of their health. That didn't work, so I finally finished farming Rattlecage earlier today with my friend. He's a kind of a good comparison as to some variations of this build as to what I'm running. He has one-handed shield for both bars. I'm running dual wield and one-handed shield on mine, and he is stacking sturdy 4 pieces, I believe he said, on his armor, and he has a lot of CP points into I think it's called Shadow Ward for increased block reduction, or I guess you could say decreased, whichever way you want to look at it. And he also runs Valkyns. Now that's where we disagree, and that's where we get into the build. So I'm running 2-piece Grothdarr. Pros and cons to this: it's very good damage. It does about 2k more off of the tooltip than Valkyns. It's AoE, which is very good since we have a lot of AoE abilities. It's a little harder to guarantee, is one of the cons, since people can just run out of it, but we have a lot of CC to make up for that, plus that CC will force them to break it, which increases your odds of winning since their stamina has just gone down by a significant amount. So I'm running an infused helmet with a max health enchant for slightly more survivability. Shoulders are light with maximum magicka and impen, and then 5-piece Seducers. It gives very good recovery and sustainability. All impen. You can mix and match whatever pieces you want. Definitely want the body, chest. I believe gloves, if you're min-maxing for armor, is the best choice, because you can't get belt, I believe, in light. In Rattlecage, I mean, you can get Rattlecage gloves and then run the belt in light if you want. That would be the true min-max. But I'm tired of farming Rattlecage. I'm just gonna settle for this. It's all impen, all max magicka, Rattlecage, 5-piece. Max magicka, impen, and then jewelry, all max recovery or magicka recovery. Dual wield, I'm gonna have a weapon damage enchant and disease damage. This is almost obligatory since we're not running reverb or any other form of health reduction. They're both sharpened swords. On the back bar, running and defending with the weapon damage enchant. You can run a lot of different enchants on this bar, since you're probably not even going to be weaving lights, because this bar is more for healing and if you're under pressure. And then the shield to go along with it, it could be reinforced for the extra resistances. However, I run impen, and the enchant should most probably be max health, since this is the bar that you're running your shields on, and those scale off of your max health. So it's a little whoopsie daisy on my part. For some alternatives to gear, you could potentially swap Seducer for Julianos, since it's easily crafted, and then same enchants and traits, but that'll give you a lot more damage but a lot less survivability. And in my opinion, if you were going to run Julianos, you should most likely run the Thief Mundus with it. You could probably get close to, I don't know, 60% crit with that on the dual wield bar, which is actually pretty good. But currently I'm just running Seducer. The Atronach Mundus would work best with Seducer since it synergizes with the recovery. You do less damage, but obviously the regen means more survivability. For my current stats, fully buffed, if you manage to proc all of this, I believe the weapon damage gets up to 25, what is that, 20 plus 13, 33, so 25, 33 spell damage. That's a good amount. It's not too high, not too low, just enough to kill people. And then on the back bar it's 1.7k, and then you lose crit since we're slotting an ability with Major Prophecy. Max Magicka, it's about 28k. I'm running recovery food, max health, or not max recovery, I keep saying that, I'm retarded. Max health and Magicka recovery. Nearly 500 recovery is very strong, plus we have a lot of percent increase passives. So you could definitely run this, or you could run the, I believe it's purple, I'm not sure on the name of it, it's like witches something, it gives max health, max Magicka and Magicka recovery, which might be a little bit better since we have, it's not too big of a Magicka pool, but definitely could be bigger. I think that's about it for gear. For abilities, just running Burning Embers, Engulfing Flames, Flames of Oblivion for the Major Prophecy. You want this on the dual wield bar. Burning Talons, good CC, plus it procs the next ability, Flame Lash. It allows you to get the heal off of it, which is very strong. And then Ferocious Sleep. You're going to want this morph instead of the other one, since this one does flame damage and scales directly from CP, and I want to say even your Magicka and spell damage, because when I had some lower sets, like lower tier, like what I previously ran, Storm Knight, Thunderbug, all that, when I was going through all of those, I was looking at the difference between these, and this was doing about 2k damage more than the other morph. But all of that aside, you definitely should be running the Meteor ult on this bar. I know it costs 200 ult, but you could definitely fry a lot of people with it, just dropping it. And then dropping some Talons and Engulfing Flames, they're pretty much just gonna die. Back bar, still running Ferocious Sleep because I'm retarded. Fiery Grip, this is probably my favorite part of the build. You could potentially run the other morph. I don't even have this morph yet because I'm a fucking pleb, but you could run the other morph where you get pulled to the target and it grants you Major Empower, which increases your next attack by 20%, which is pretty strong. And this entire build doesn't have any sort of gap closer, so you running this is pretty strong. Plus it grants Major Expedition so you can keep up if anybody tries to run away. Igni Shield, obligatory. Coagulating Blood, you're going to want this one because it scales off of max Magicka and spell damage. Volatile Armor, spell resistance and physical resistance buff, plus it's a small dot, 7k over 10 seconds. And then the damage return. And then Reflective Scales, you're going to want to morph this to the one that increases damage. I'm also a fucking loser and don't have skill points, so that's 3 strikes, I'm out. CP wise, it's pretty generic, nothing too cool and crazy. You're going to want points into break free, if you're even running CP campaigns, that is. I usually don't. You're going to want Magicka recovery, tumbling, block. This is where you can shift some points around and put more into here if you're more interested in standing there and holding right click. I'm not. Blessed for increased heals. Elemental Expert, this is where most of your damage is going to come from. Putting points into here. Spell Erosion, just kind of messing around with this. I'm not sure if you could drop it and put it into here. I'm not too big of a min-maxer, so I don't really know which would give more damage in the long run. Master at Arms, 5% direct damage. That's kind of like running two swords like I currently am, each giving 2.5 increased damage. So 5% plus 5%. I don't even know if it stacks like that because I'm not too enlightened. And then Thaumaturge, only at 9% right now. Not too big on the dots. I'm sure this might have a slight more impact if you maybe took out some healing and the penetration and swapped it around. Might see some sort of difference in that. Maybe even up the heal from your Burning Embers. For these trees, it's just a more generic distribution of points, kind of evenly spread, ironclad, resistant. In the event I do go into any CP campaigns or I want to duel somebody, that's pretty good. Elemental Defender, already thick skin, generic, nothing here. I think that's about it. I don't think I missed anything. I've gone over all of my gear, which you should choose and why. Falcons could be a good alternative if you're feeling it. In my opinion, it's not better than this, since I've beaten my friend in 1v1s. He runs Falcons, I run this. So it's kind of up to you. See what works, mix and match. But this is the pretty much base thing you want to go off of. Dual wield definitely helps increase that spell damage, and that is something you're definitely going to want. Alright guys, that's it for the build as a dolmen opens up over there. If you have any questions, leave it down in the comments. I appreciate any feedback. Just let me know if I need anything to be changed or go over. And I think I'll leave a small write-up of the build in the description. Other than that, thank you for watching this far, and hopefully I'll bring a new video out soon. It's going to be some sort of mini-series involving some battleground shenanigans with this build in particular. You'll have to wait and see. It's pretty funny. Other than that, if I'm banned, you won't see me or that video again. That's all I have to say. Alright, peace out guys.